grab onto it several times and hold it like, I mean, he looked like me,
Looked like,
I mean,
looked like it was going to fly away without him.
yeah, it's just the guy. I mean, not only does he have mental balance issues, but it appears that he has some pretty interesting um,
It's an inner
physical
ear thing. It's an inner
physical.
ear thing.
Yeah,
All that drywall in New York built up in his ear, and now it's not what it used to be.
yeah. It was. Oh, hey, look at that! We're on the air. Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's a great day for baseball. Here we are live at Spolpaki Municipal Stadium,
where the Spolpakian alligators take on the Georgian rebels.
the Hibernian Bears. How
That's
would that
good.
be for a team? Would that work out for a team, the Hibernian Bears? What am I? Oh, that's what I'm looking to do. Okay, I couldn't figure out for a second what I was looking to do, and then it came upon me upon a midnight clear, or a morning clear, which we don't have down here. We have cloudy skies back again, although the temperatures have gone up. We're into the mid 40s, I believe. It might even be 50 degrees out there.
Well, we too have had an alteration of our 80-degree temperatures. Today it's going to be 90.
Wow, now that's I would love to see a 90-degree day. I haven't felt a day that warm in well, at least for the whole of this year, and probably for most of last year. So I wouldn't mind getting into that. I like that. I like that warm weather. Um, although it's funny. I mean, I don't mind
Good
the
for your
ice.
bones.
We're Mikey and Vinny. He's Mikey. I'm Vinny. Michael Knight in New York. Vinny. We've been doing this for nigh on to how many years, man?
It's been a few.
Yeah,
It's been a number of them.
probably going to be push it up to close to the 40. I would think, if not
And
past.
just so you know what I'm dealing with, the big boys decided to sit behind me. You see, there's the 30-pound cat, and he's not moving. And I've offered him a relocation fee and setting him up in a new, witness protection and all that. No, he's not going for it. He likes it right where he is. He's got a warm spot on the chair. He doesn't want to move, doesn't want to be bothered, doesn't want to be relocated. So I'm the one that has to sit on the edge of the chair. I have to make do. And that's the way it is when you share the planet with animals. Cautious what you ask them to. Don't back them into a corner on the situation.
Well,
You could pay for.
That's the deal they've struck in exchange for not saying everything that they see. I mean, could you imagine if animals could say and talk about everything they've seen, the stuff that we do in front of our animals?
Nobody knows the trouble they've seen.
Yeah, the whole world would be screwed. Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative. I mean, every genre of person. Who hasn't done something that they would never do in front of another human being, in front of their cat, and then apologize to the cat or talk to the cat after it.
So the cat understands.
Yeah, I hope you don't think badly of me, but I'm going to scratch my ass.
Sorry you had to see that, my dear.
Yes, yeah, you apologize. It's like apologizing to Alexa.
Dear. Yeah.
I find myself sometimes, I use Alexa for my alarm in the morning, and I find myself now saying goodnight to Alexa.
Well, that's disturbing.
I mean, listen, Michael, you know this about me. I'm a please and thank you guy. I was brought up to say please and thank you. So it's like an automatic reaction to say, Alexa, please set the alarm for 6:30, and 7 tomorrow morning. And when she says, okay, your alarm is set for 6:30, and 7 tomorrow morning, February 29th, I say,
No,
well,
what are the
thank you
what are the
very much.
chances? What are the chances that you get up at the 6 o'clock alarm?
The 7 gets sketchy. The 7's really been sketchy lately. Yesterday I knew I didn't have to get up until well, it was interesting. Yesterday I didn't have to get up, but I got up early because it was car day, and the guy called me that was bringing up the car and said, "Well, we had a change of plans, and I'm outside your house now," and that was 8 o'clock in the morning. And I said, "Okay, hang on," and
Here I come.
jumped out of bed, got dressed, and got out there.
You had to pick up a car and return one. Is that it?
Yeah, they bring one and then leave one. So it was, usually they come, I don't know, 12, 1 o'clock, something like that on a Thursday. But yesterday, for whatever reason. And so, but usually, I don't know, Mikey, I mean, I do my work in bed in the morning. I mean, I get, I wake up at 6 o'clock, but I get on the iPad and I start reading stories and going through stuff and seeing what's out there for the show, for the weekend show. And, it's like a constant, it's not like I just sleep until 9 o'clock in the morning. So every once in a while I do, but I just, especially in the winter months. Now, in the summer months, as I'm sure it is for you, it changes. I mean, when there's light, you want to zap out of the bed as fast as you can.
The way our bed is situated, if you, at certain times of the year, if you want to stay in bed, you can't stay in bed because the sun comes in the window and blankets you with its heat and its direct sun rays, and you can't keep your eyes closed. You can't shut that out. And besides, the cats want that spot, want your spot, because that's what they worship, the sunbeam. They know where the sunbeams are. They know when they're coming, and they know how long they're going to be there, so they can take advantage of them. And that's a religion for a cat. It's not something to be taken casually. It's important to them to get the sunbeam. And if you're in the way, they'll just sleep on you. Happy to do it, no charge.
Again, for years and years, they've ingrained in us that we got to listen to them, and so we do. We generally don't argue with them.
True.
At least I don't. I generally don't argue with. I mean, I don't have cats right now, but when I did have cats, I mean, they get to run to the house, except for the kitchen. I'm not a big fan of the cats jumping up on the kitchen counters.
Because they will do that. They will take advantage. They will make it their own.
Right, and I just never, I never liked that. I'm not one of these people that get all kissy face with my pets. I pet them, and I pet them, but these people that like sit there and tongue kiss with their dogs.
It's not necessary. That's
Yeah,
taking it a little far.
I mean, I always ask myself, how can you tongue kiss? And this isn't with cats, but cats do it sometimes. How can you tongue kiss with something or someone that sticks their face in shit? It's just it's a non-starter for me. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I've had a few girlfriends that, I don't know, but
that's something you better look into in the privacy of your own imagination.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't have to look into it. It's just that it's a non-starter for me. I don't want to. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know about it. If you stick your face in that, then I'm just not there.
But you want the dog and the cat to give themselves a bath. You want them to proceed with the self-cleaning procedure.
Well, cats. I don't think I ever gave a cat a bath. Dogs. I never mind because they're easy. You take the hose. And you go out by the garage, you spray them down, rub a little soap on them, and then rub it off. Wipe it off.
I had a black lab named Lulu that could tell when I was thinking about giving her a bath. She could divine in some way when it was time to hide under the couch. She would get under the couch and say, "I know you're thinking about giving me a bath. I'm just telling you I'm not coming out. You can't come in and get me." And let that be the end of this discussion.
What was the longest time you let Lulu go without getting a bath?
Well, Lulu could get pretty dirty.
Mm.
She didn't just need the bath because it was about time. It was a day where she had to have a bath.
Ah.
And she was resistant to that. And it was
Yeah.
my job to get her out and then proceed with the bath, make sure it was complete and that she would be dried off so she wouldn't roll in the dirt, and provide a situation where another bath was required before the first bath was dry.
Yeah, that's yeah,
Those of
see,
you with
that's
black labs know what I'm talking about.
now the one thing that I've seen, and I don't know, I don't, I'm sure you have them in Southern California. I've seen them, and I think it's a great idea. It's one of those ideas that I don't know why I didn't think of it, but the people that have the dog wash next to the car wash. So you take your dog in and you wash it. I don't think it's the same time. I don't see how you could do both, but maybe if you had um, an attended car wash, you could. But I've always thought that that's a great idea. To take your dog into a car wash, and you got the hose and the soft brushes and everything, and you brush the brush the dog up, wash it up, and then run it through the blow dryer.
And back in the Volkswagen bus.
Yeah,
for the trip home.
Have you ever done that? Is that a something that you do, or?
I have a pet store not far away on Lake Avenue that offers in-house bathing. Bring in your dog and it gets washed and treated royally. But I've never done that. I always did the washing myself.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess, and a cat, I tried it once and that was it. It was just such a project that I just said, you know what? At the time, I think I paid $10 to get the cat washed, and I was like, and then when I had the cat and I got into a relationship, I made it understood with the woman I got into the relationship with that this is now, if you please, your gig. You have a much more of a connection with the cat. And she did have much, much more of a connection with the cat. So I convinced on a couple of occasions somebody to take that job over because I was not good at it. I love cats. I got no problem with them, but the hassle of getting a cat. Now, I would suppose that bigger and older cats must be a bigger and older of a hassle.
Yeah, because they have more ways to evade your bath.
Yeah. And now I couldn't imagine it because, geez, Michael, I mean, I have enough trouble giving myself a bath. Never mind the cats.
You ever given yourself a flea bath?
I've been places that has been that I've been infested with that has been infested with some kind of bug. So I've given myself a bath with that stuff. I forget what they call it. There's some kind of stuff that you put in your hair and all the hair on your body, and so I've given myself a bath with that. But I've never given myself a specific flea bath where I had to pick the fleas out of my hair or anything like that.
The dishwashing soap called what's it called? Dawn, DAWN.
Yeah.
That kills fleas, and it's absolutely harmless to the cat or dog or duck or whatever you're bathing. And they use Dawn to get oil products out of aquatic birds when there's been an oil spill. And it works beautifully. It cleans thoroughly, and it kills the parasites, whatever they may be. And it's of no harm whatsoever to the animal. So it's a pretty rare combination, and the Dawn is used successfully. Last time I had to give a cat a bath, it was a flea bath for a new kitten. And Dawn saved the day.
That's why you know what, I've used Dawn for years, and that's exactly. I read an article one time where was using. I think it was after the Exxon Valdez, if I'm not mistaken,
No
that
doubt.
the organization that was up there cleaning up the wildlife was using Dawn.
Yeah.
It was, it was one of the best things for that type of work. And ever since then, I actually specifically go and look for Dawn when I go shopping.
Yes.
And I have the I forget. Matter of fact, I just brought home a couple of bottles of it with the spray thing. I mean, it works better, I think, than any of the other dish detergents. But that's just that. If they were aiming to do that to win customers over with their advertising around that, they got at least one. I could tell them that one person started buying Dawn at least because I saw that. And I said, even if I got to rub a little harder, for what these people are doing for the animals, if they come up with a formula that won't harm the animals, well, you know what? Then they got my vote. So, Mikey.
Yes, Vinny.
How do you think the world is going this Fractious Friday? Do you feel any better about it?
It's going to hell in a handbasket, of course. But the handbasket is offering some promise that even the people of Texas have had just about enough of Donald Trump. And all the races that are coming up, political races, reflect that. And Tuesday, we've got a big day with the primaries and voting in Arkansas, North Carolina, and a third state, which I can't recall right now. I'm going to say Mississippi. I'm not certain of that. 3 southern states, Arkansas, North Carolina, and one other. And the trend that we've been witnessing of the Republican Party abandoning Donald Trump in the all-important arena of the vote seems to be trending toward that once again. And that's the only thing that's the only hope that I have. Sometimes I don't even hope that the judges and the courts are going to catch up with the trouble that Trump has caused and the chaos that he is famous for, that just travels with him like a smelly cloud of body odor. The vote that's coming up gives me some reason to be optimistic. If the people of Arkansas and South Carolina can turn on Donald Trump, anybody can, anybody will. And I fear that the trend that we're seeing will be enough to lead the undecided voter and the independent voter to support the Democratic candidate as well. Now, that's not a given, it's not a guarantee, but it is a trend in the right direction. And that means that the people who would wear a Trump t-shirt and willingly be part of his gamesmanship to destroy the ability to vote for candidates, the ability for individuals to be detained, but only with a warrant and only with the legality that accompanies the right of the individual to be innocent until proven guilty, all the bedrock innocent elements of our democracy that are eroding right before our eyes because of this son of a bitch. So hell in a handbasket is the short answer. Is there a promise for a turnaround? I believe there is, because I have to believe that that's something we're capable of, waking up and voting the right way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm encouraged by it. I'm without a doubt encouraged by, especially Texas. Because it's probably the hardest core of those states to flip any kind of seat. But I think you're right. I'm thinking. I think the number of people that have had it with the way the government is not just, I'm not just going to say Donald Trump. I'm going to say the way the government is run right now, the way it is serving the people, the way that we are paying their salaries to do what they're doing is as low as I've seen it in many years. There's and the faith in it is eroding as quickly as I've seen it in many years. I don't even think back in the 60s it eroded this fast, the faith in the institutions of our government.
Well,
And
the whole idea of the town hall has died in the past couple months with Donald Trump's leadership. The idea of facing your voting public and telling them what you have planned and telling them that it's time now for them to communicate to you, the candidate and the representative, what works and what doesn't. What do they need? What do they want? What are they worried about? What are they concerned about? The politicians can't do that because I can sit back now.
there you go.
Here we go. Because
Patience is a virtue, Michael.
right. Because the voting public won't be polite anymore. They are dismissive and angry and accusatory. And you don't want to face, if you're a Republican, you don't want to face your voting public. You just don't. You don't want to have any part to do with that. The town hall idea has lost its attraction to them because all they do is they get their nuts roasted and they don't have an answer and they don't have a comeback and they don't have a solution. So the only solution that they can work with is do not get in front of your voters. Whatever you do, make any promise you want, make any commercial you want, but don't stand on the stage at a high school in front of the people who elected you and tell them that the price of eggs is going down when it's not. That ain't going to fly.
The only ones that'll believe you are the people that watch Fox. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Is the only people that will believe you are the people that turn on Fox at 8 o'clock in the morning when they get up and fall asleep to it at night. And
it's okay for Donald Trump to lie to them because they want to be lied to. They're used to it. They're excited by it. They're satisfied by it. They're placated. They're waiting to be lied. Lie to me now. Lie to me about the economy. Lie to me about my job. Lie to me about the future. And begin now.
Yeah, it is amazing. I mean, it's been so funny that over the last 3 days or so, that most people in this country have been talking about the speech, and two places that I've seen where they're not talking about the speech very much was Fox and CBS News.
Or Fox and Fox Jr.
Yeah, Fox and Fox Jr. For all the hope I had for Tony DeCopel taking over the news, what I heard him say after, and I went back, I go back and I look at, because everybody puts them on YouTube now, so you can go back and you can watch it. And I went back and looked at the major networks and CNN and Fox and just the lick job that DeCopel gave Trump after that speech was disgusting. It truly was. To see a guy that I thought was a good journalist. I'm not saying that if you're hosting the State of the Union address for a major network that you need to go and tear them down or anything like that. But don't lie. Don't paint the guy, if you don't want to paint them in terms of that it was a horrible speech. Don't jump on the bandwagon with the other Republicans, the other MAGAs, and say, well, it was such a great speech and an eloquent speech. Nowhere in that speech was it eloquent. eloquent, and that man do not exist in the same universe. And to hear
Did he describe it as
CBS,
eloquent?
yes, he described it as eloquent.
Wow.
Now maybe they stuck that in there. Maybe it was AI generated. I don't know. I I looked at the but I heard him say eloquent, lengthy. It's I mean I can't look at CBS News. I mean I looked at him with a weary eye before. Now I don't trust anything they're saying.
You shouldn't.
Now I'm kind of like,
And it was just a few short years ago that it was still part of the image of the Paley family and the Tiffany network, with standards that were above and beyond that of any news organization, with the exception perhaps of the New York Times. It was an extraordinary organization for news gathering, and correspondents, reporters, producers all over the world that adhered to the high standards of CBS News. And
you were working for
to take that product and that image, it's so awful, Vinny.
when when the first time that I went to work for CBS, when we were working together in Embarcadero, I was so proud to be working. I remember when I got my CBS ID, I showed it to my father, and I was like, "Look at this." Because he was a fan of Douglas Edwards,
Yes.
and who was a fine anchor and reporter, but an anchor mostly that I remember for CBS News in the 50s and the 60s. And
Before
he
Cronkite.
liked Douglas Edwards, man. He was a fan of his, and this was before Cronkite. Cronkite, and he he was like proud because it meant something, you know. Even the second time I got it, when I went back to Pennsylvania and I worked for CBS. You think, well, it doesn't mean anything, but it does. These media organizations used to mean something when you would go to work for them. Just as I'm sure if some conservative goes to work for Fox or one of those broadcast networks, it'll probably mean something to them.
It means that
But
they can lie about the facts, the who, what, where, when, and how, depending on whether they need to lie about it or not. And maybe they'll even lie about it if they don't have to. It would be like a free lie, a bonus lie.
You went free lie a year, but it meant something, and now it doesn't look like it means anything.
It means that it's just the opposite of what it was. It's a source that can't be trusted. Excuse me.
Bless you. Yeah. Two of the things that I did want to pull out of this, since on Friday we kind of almost do a little bit of that was the week that was. That was a great show.
It was.
You remember that?
I do. I watched it religiously.
I remember as a little kid watching that show. David Frost and a group of people who pretty much were a precursor to Saturday Night Live, in that they satired the news.
Remember they opened the show with a song?
That was da 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 da. And they would, I think, was Tom Lehrer part of that?
I don't think so. I don't recall that.
For some reason, but I know David Frost was, and it was just one of those shows that anyway. So we tend to go back sometimes and look, and I just wanted to say two other things about the State of the Union. The first one was I was putting J.D. Vance in charge of the corruption,
the fraud.
And had to make me laugh because it always appears to me that J.D. Vance is Trump's bag man. Now, for
But his
those of
name's
you
not
who
J.D. Vance.
yeah, I mean, for those of you who might not know what a bag man is, he's the guy that follows the boss around and takes the payments so the boss can never get in trouble. And you make sure that you pay up. And it was so not lost on me that Trump is standing up there in front of the nation talking about how much he wants to fight corruption and he wants to fight, you know, Congress taking corruption, taking insider trading and all of that stuff. And Donald Trump has probably paid off more, in my opinion. Donald Trump has probably paid off more building inspectors and so on and so forth in New York, or his bagmen have, than probably anybody that you'll ever meet. All those buildings didn't go up in New York in the 60s without money getting spread around. It's the way it goes back there. It's the way you do business. You don't get the permits if you don't pay the building inspector. It's that simple.
You don't get the concrete and the cement unless you've made your deal and you're up to your payments are current.
That's why the city opened up their own concrete center plants in the 70s and the 80s because it was the only way that they could do anything about the payoffs that were going to the mob and the building inspectors. Now, again, was I there and ever saw Donald Trump make a pay? No. But I can tell you, as somebody who has experience and had experience in putting together, deals for buildings and certificates of occupancy and all of that kind of stuff, that this stuff was a regular course of business. It's the way it worked, and nobody was going to bust it open.
Cost of doing business, definitely.
Right. The same thing as the free meal and the free cup of coffee for the beat cop.
I don't know.
It was the way it went. So, and the second thing was, it really struck me how infected Donald Trump's mind is with social media. He did a social media trick in his speech that we see all the time. If you're somebody who is frequent on social media, and unfortunately I am, I'm trying to use it less for Lent, I guess. Maybe that's what I'm giving up for Lent. But there's a thing that they do. What do you call it? A trope, I guess. It's a thing that people in social media do that has always annoyed me. And it's this thing where they start out a post and they start to talk about a friend of theirs who had cancer, or a friend of theirs who had this, or friends of theirs who had this, or a friend of theirs who is a veteran. And it goes on and describes the veteran, it describes the cancer, and then it talks about somebody who didn't like it. And at the end they say, now, if you are against cancer, repost this message. Or if you are against, dishonoring the United States, if you're a true American, repost this message.
What if it's, are you against people who mistreat hedgehogs?
Repost this message. So the implication is, if you don't think like I do, then you're not my friend. Or you can't, it's just something so, like you have to prove because you feel a certain way about a certain subject. And if you don't repost it, you're not American. Or you love disease, I guess. What does it mean if you don't repost it? You love cancer? You're actively looking to get it? Take it home and court it? Feed it? And that little
I don't participate. I know what you're saying, and I don't participate in any posts like that. that
Yeah,
require me to do something.
but that's what he did when he did that whole thing about if you love America, stand up. That was that exact thing. And I applaud the people who didn't stand up, who didn't buy into that selfish bullshit that says you gotta, that social media trick, which so turns me off about people. I mean, I've gotten rid of people that have posted something like that
Sure.
because I just think it's. But yet there we are. We're listening to the president of the United States make a State of the Union address, report, possibly the most important speech that he makes all year because he's supposed to set the tone for our country for the year.
I think
And
he
he's
did.
using a freaking social media trope to try to get people excited, to try to manipulate the crowd, because that's all it is.
Well, in terms of an unfocused, chaotic, shambolic delivery with no end, it did set the tone. That's the tone of this nation. That's the tone of his administration. That's the unintended Trump endorsement of his own policies and methods. If you can handle this guy, if you can stand this, if you can listen to this 2-hour speech and not reject who he is and how he does it, then you're with him. And that's perfect. Vote for him, love him, say God sent him to rescue you, but don't expect anything to happen that's going to be positive or redemptive, or don't expect a solution if there's a problem, because he's not capable of that. He's only capable of stirring the shit.
Just I saw that and I didn't see anybody mention that, and I just thought it was without a doubt a one of the seediest things that I see on social media. And there's a lot of seedy stuff on social media.
I've
A lot of
noticed.
good stuff too. I'm not going to say it's not there's not benefits to it. There's not good stuff that happens around social media, but that manipulation of people to get them to agree with you. I just find it abhorrent, and I find it worse than that when the president of the United States has to use that to divide us even further, to make us grow apart even further, which is everything that speech was designed to do. It was designed to make us grow apart further, and it was disgusting. And I don't know. I said my piece about it. Now I really we have when he got elected, I said we had the worst sports radio caller that you could possibly think of, Donnie from Queens. Elected president. Now we have the most uninformed of your Facebook friends that got elected for this term. The person that forwards you the stupidest stuff, the stuff that if you'd only taken a second to check Google, you would find isn't true. Now he's the president of the United States, and he's got his finger on the nuclear button. If you want to think about something tonight,
got his finger on a lot of nuclear buttons. Pakistan's got a nuclear weapon. Iran's got a nuclear weapon. Israel has a nuclear weapon. We have them. Russia's got them. We are in relationships with all those people, and it in such a way that the nuclear button in all those nations is unsafe now, more so than ever before.
Yeah,
because of our influence and our effect on world power.
Well, you had an agreement, and he thought that he, in his usual wanting to fix, wanting to make everything, every agreement in the world with his name on it, he broke down that agreement. He couldn't stand the idea that would have been the Obama doctrine. He can't stand anything with Obama's name on it. Anything. He
Nothing.
can't. He wants to get rid of Obamacare so bad, so the name will come off it. But he's not smart enough to be able to come up with a plan that even looks better
Well,
than Obamacare.
but come up with a plan that makes at least some sense. He's saying he's just going to give you the money. You buy your own plan. As if somehow that lessens the cost, it lessens the coverage. It adds to the magic of it. You're sick? I've given you the money. You got the health care that you need. You can just go out and get what you want. But he didn't give you the money. He just said he was going to. So there is no health plan to buy because there was no health plan for sale to begin with. There was no plan beyond the health plan. It was just a way to talk about it. And he talks about it to standing ovations all the time. I'm going to give you the money and you're going to buy your own health plan.
Well,
There, that's done. Now it's settled. You get a better deal that way. But you didn't give us the money. No, and I'm not going to give you the money, but I'm going to say I'm going to give you the money. I'm going to say it again. In fact, I'll say it now. I'll give you the money. You buy your own health plan. What's the downside of that? Just the fact that I have no intention of giving you the money. I have no way to give you the money. I've never given anybody the money, and nobody's buying their own health plan. Next case.
well, he can say that he advanced a plan. He can say he has a plan, and people like you're saying will look at it and say, oh yeah, he has a plan.
It's got a
I
plan.
actually had somebody send me an email or a message on Messenger that told me about the great plan that he had. I said,
Yes.
I asked him a notepad, where is the plan? You saw it? Show it to me. We'll have a headline. I'll give you credit. I don't even want the credit. No, he has a great plan. A friend of mine in Pennsylvania that's a big fan of his, big fan of Trump's. I mean, that's a state he's screwed more than any other state, Pennsylvania, because he keeps telling those people in southwestern Pennsylvania that coal is coming back. And he'll do anything he can to try to give the illusion that coal is coming back. And coal is not coming back.
No.
But he gives that illusion of comfort. He's the car makers are now all talking about V8 cars again, because people are comfortable with that idea of gasoline engine V8 cars. It's what they know. It's what they're familiar with. So out with the electric. Go make gasoline cars again. We'll have the gasoline. We'll drill, baby, drill. While we choke on it.
I heard an analysis today of something that surprised me. That the cost of oil these days is $60 a barrel, and the return at that level, the return to the industry of the money that they invested to get that oil and charge $60 a barrel is at such a level that there's no profit in it. So they're not going to drill because it costs a fortune to institute new drilling. It has to be offset by the projected return. There has to be enough oil in the ground or under the sea at a reasonable cost to justify the fortune that you have to organize and put together to drill, baby, drill. Now, Trump thinks you just drill, get the oil, sell it at any price that you want, and there's a fabulous fortune to be made, but that's not the case. And right now, the fortune is at $60 a barrel, is not enough of a return to justify the drilling and the cost that goes with it. So the whole idea about drill, baby, drill is a wonderful bumper sticker, but in reality, Vinny, we are not drill, baby, drilling. We are not returning the investigation and the adventure of finding new oil. And there's no turnaround for that in sight. The cost of oil per gallon at the tank that you pay to fill your tank is at a level where you cannot justify further drilling because of the cost involved. And he doesn't understand that. Republicans don't understand that, but the oil industry does. Oil industry understands it. And the idea that he made 85 million gallons of low-grade crude from Venezuelan deal that he talked about is pie in the sky. It doesn't exist. Those figures are not real. Once again, he lied to you. He lied to me and he lied to you about the cost of oil and the return that for his adventures in Venezuela or any other place. And the drill baby drill concept is a hoax, is a falsehood, is nonsense.
And to fix that, to make that oil from Venezuela usable as gasoline for the types of cars that we drive here. Now, if you have a one-cylinder, a one-cycle motor or something like that, maybe it'll work. You know, the kind of engine that you can run on castor oil. You know, but to make that top-tier gasoline, it costs you more. It costs you more than it's worth.
Excuse me.
So, and
well,
you have
you're right.
A structure in place to replace this. You have wind power, you have solar power, you have different kinds of power in place that if it's developed in not so many years, will be able to replace gasoline. We'll be able to change the way we get our energy. But it'll make a lot of people that he loves stock go down.
Well, his memory of the level of dominance in terms of corporate dominance that Exxon and Chevron represented, those days are waning. That source of fuel is on its way out. You can see the fact that the fortune that the gas companies made, the fuel companies made, was based on the fact that every car had to have their product. Every car had to have it. Every week you had to fill up the tank. You had no choice. You had no alternative. You had no substitute. Those days are gone now. And the electric cars that are taking their place are evidence of that. Now, yes, we still have gasoline, and yes, there are gas stations, and yes, you can fill up your 1955 Studebaker and drive it for the foreseeable future. But if you want to buy a new Studebaker, well, good luck with that. If you want to buy any new car, chances are you're going to be making a choice between an all-electric car or a hybrid.
Well, unfortunately, they've made cars so unaffordable between the interest rates and the stuff that they've put in cars and the wanting to take profits that it's not practical to buy a new car for many people. I mean, you're going to spend $50,000 if you want to buy a new car. Is that ridiculous?
Yes.
$50,000 is what you are going to have to spend if you want to buy a new car.
What's the price of the car you're driving this? What's the price of the car you're driving this week?
Well, I'm driving a pretty snappy car. I'm driving a Lexus GV70, and that
80 grand.
car is actually over 80 grand. But it's an incredible car. It's a luxury car. Not everybody is going to go and buy one of these.
And well made.
Well made. We've talked about the Genesis before and how much of a solid vehicle that is. And how well built it is. You know, between the here's a look at it. How much the construction of this car is built not only for looks but for safety. This is one of the cars that Tiger Woods would drive when he had his accident. And we talked about crumple zones and different safety equipment that's available in this car. To make it as safe as possible in a car that a small SUV, smaller SUV, and when you add to that the luxury of the vehicle, it really has, it's got a lot going for it. Again, I just picked it up yesterday, or it was just brought to me yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to take it on the road. But Genesis is a car that people, I don't think they understand in many ways that this car, which is a Japanese, a Korean car, excuse me, um, sits right up there with the Germans as a
Yeah.
vehicle that is um, technologically as good as anything out there. It's technologically as good as a Mercedes, a BMW, um, any of those German cars, the Audis. Maybe the Audi has a little bit of an engine in engineering, but in ride quality, in space, in comfort, and in what you get for your buck, this GV70 is an incredible car. And we'll talk more about it tomorrow on drive time at 11 o'clock. But again, you get a chance to get in a car, and if this was a Mercedes, it'd probably be $95,000, $90,000. But
Takes me
a price
back
too.
feedback to remembering how just the opposite was true, especially of many American designs. If you bought a van by any American manufacturer, there was always a surprise there somewhere. Where's the battery? Oh, to change the battery, you have to take the seat out. You have to take the dash apart. You have to send in a crew of 3 men, and they have to search for it. And that's where the battery is, somewhere under the front seat. And you have to say, how did that get by the engineering final step? How did they decide that the best way to sell this car was to hide the battery underneath the middle of the vehicle so that it was a 3-day job to just find it, let alone change it, so that it could not be changed on the side of the road? You call AAA, I got a dead battery. What are you driving? I'm driving the new Schmegma. Oh, that's a problem. We can't change that on the side of the road. We'll have to tow your car. Why tow it? Because we have to take it to a place where we can take the front part of the car apart, take the seats out, take the carpeting out, it's hidden in a spot. We've never found it, but we understand that it's somewhere behind the starter motor. The starter motor is the largest starter motor in the history of cars. It's a huge starter motor. It's probably the size of the state of Delaware. And it may seem unreasonable, but we're confident that if we get in there, we can find it within a couple of days and change it for you.
Well, it's one of the things about that really made cars get into much more of the forefront of safety was getting the battery out of the front of the car.
Yeah.
Most cars still have that battery up in the front, but for vans and things like that, they found it actually to be better. Some cars they moved them. And as a matter of fact, the early Volkswagens had the battery under the seat. The Volkswagen Bug had the battery under the seat. It did two things. It kept the battery from being in the crash zone, but it also kept the battery in the middle of the car. And when you had a lightweight car like that, it helped with the balance of the car. And the road stability of the car. It kept the car, and again, you're talking about a car that's 2,000 pounds. It kept the nose of the car from moving over when you were steering it. So but I know what you're talking about. Now, I mean, just think about it now. Now you look for a battery, you'd either look at an electric car or a hybrid for a huge battery, or a 12, you still got the 12-volt battery. So you got to find out where they hid that. But yeah, the changes in engineering in cars have been incredible. And, Genesis has been at the forefront of that. And it's nice to see. It's nice to see an upstart company that a couple of years ago, 10 years ago, existed really in not too many people's minds. And now they put out one of the best luxury sedans, luxury SUVs out there, and a car that's fun to drive, has a large number of high-tech stuff in it. So if you're one of those techie people, but isn't so out there that you're afraid of it. There's cars now that come, Michael, and you probably seen this, that you start to get into the tech side of it, and you leave half the stuff alone because you don't know what it is. It's like when you get a computer, sometimes you leave half the stuff alone because you don't know what it is. Just show me how the heater works, show me how the radio works, and show me how I make it go frontwards and backwards. That's what I want you to show me. Everything else, I don't care about.
Those are just add-ons. Those are just features to make you want the car.
Yeah. Yes. And what it is it's something to go wrong 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road. And for you to have an astronomical number to fix it.
And you'll discuss this tomorrow at 11 o'clock, will you?
Yes, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning we'll be talking about this. And you know what? We'll talk a little bit more about the pollution and that stuff. People have asked me, does it mean, and I got an email about this, I'm going to answer the email. Does the president's ruling that the law that required the federal government to require that the federal government, make cars non-polluting or less pollution, will that mean that the smog stations, that law, the president has said that law isn't existing anymore, will that mean that you wouldn't have to get your car smogged anymore? Will that mean that you wouldn't have to get catalytic converters in your car anymore? Can you just put a regular muffler on your car and it can go? Not quite. So we'll
maybe in some states, but not on the West Coast.
No, it won't happen on the West Coast, and I don't think it's going to happen in some states. I think states are going to band together, and they're going to say, screw you and screw your ideas. We need stability. We need to know where we're going in the future. We design these cars 5 years down the road, 6 years down the road. We don't want to poison people with our cars. We may want to make a lot of profit, but we don't want to poison people with the cars. So that's something that we'll be looking at. I think it's a crazy idea that he's come up with about getting rid of the regulations that basically forced the car companies into making cleaner cars. What is it that he doesn't want
forced into it?
Cars.
The car companies are more inclined to talk about safety, and have instituted many elements of their design and their engineering and their rollout that is focused on passenger safety, family safety, children's safety within the car. But they're not always as willing to provide the same product safety with pollution, with elements of pollution, contributing to pollution, contributing to
and what could be more safe
greenhouse gases,
an environment that you can breathe. Water that you can swim in and drink. Water, air that you can breathe. I mean, if you don't have that, you don't need seatbelts.
And it was a combination of two giant industries, the petrochemical industry and the auto industry together, just about destroyed the city of Los Angeles because of the design of the city. It sits in a bowl, and the smog would get in it and couldn't get out. And that was a factor in California having the most stringent rules around what a internal combustion engine had to provide in terms of cleanliness. And without that, Los Angeles would be unlivable today. if that had continued from the 50s to the current day.
Yeah, well, again, we can. I mean, we did what I really a lot of times don't like to do, but I think that people's attention need to be called to what's going on. Yeah, people need to be shown and told in no uncertain terms that this is going on, that this is important, and people also need to. And we didn't. We actually, it's funny. We didn't get a chance to talk about this all as much this week, and we'll just kind of wrap it up on this. Is that we are going to have to put in some things that I learned from reading and listening to Jesse Jackson, who passed away earlier, actually late last week, and that is to get people to vote. Make sure that not only you register them to vote, but they deliver on their promise to vote. If you got to drive them to the polls, if you got to pay their cab fare to the polls, whatever you got to do to get them out to the polls or get them to register their vote, you got to do it. And you got to do it for 10 people. And you got to make sure that 10 people that didn't vote before will vote for your side. I mean, again, you can't guarantee that, but you have to, you have to give people and make people realize that they need to take action here. It's not just marching in the streets. It's getting people to vote. So, all right. That's a show, isn't it?
That's a Freaky Friday right there for you.
It's a Freaky Friday. We'll have drive time tomorrow morning at 11. We'll be back with you Monday morning at 10:10 or thereabouts. Big plans for the weekend?
No. We're going to have 90-degree temperatures today. It's going to be hot and sunny. So you just walk out the door and luxuriate in the gift of California.
There you go. I wish I was down there, Michael. I would luxuriate with you. Sounds like it'd be fun to luxuriate.
Indeed.
I haven't luxuriated in a while. I need to.
Have a good show tomorrow, Vinny, 11 o'clock.
Thanks, Mikey. Thank you all for listening to our show as well. We will see you Monday morning at 10:10 if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise. And as always, remember the 3 things that we live our lives by: peace, love, and Manischewitz.
One won't do. You need all 3. So remember, one of wine.
Take care, Mikey. Thank you all for listening. Bye-bye.